What's happening, people? Welcome to another episode of Giants Rush, where we talk about the New York Giants 52 weeks a year. We're here every single Monday, whether you like it or not. We are the podcast you love to hate, and welcome to another episode of Giants Rush. I'm kind of excited. Why? Schedule's out of the way, drafts out of the way. Like, we could have some fun, right? Last week we did what we do last week. The best villains, right? Giants villains. Everybody got all up in arms over that one that I depressed everybody, right? So we will be covering traitors. Now, traitors can go either way, right? Could be someone that left the Giants or someone that came to the Giants. We're going to talk about the schedule and that sucky-ass job that Roger Goodell handed to us, that piece of crap schedule. And we're going to talk about some boys that signed some papers today that made them millionaires. So again, welcome to another episode of Giants Rush. Let's bring in the guys because I know you don't want to hang out with me all day long. As entertaining as I am, you definitely cannot get through it without this guy. Bow. Dude.
What's going on? How's it going?
You rocking your Strahan. I love it.
Good vibes. How's it going?
I'm good, man. I'm good. And you know why I'm good? Because this is a cool time of year where we can have some fun, right? We can reminisce. We can kind of look at rosters. We can, we start to kind of see how the team's starting to like be formed, right? And all our other teams, I think Brian said this, and we've got Brian Rascona from WFAN coming in a second here. I think he said it the best. Every other team in New York sucks right now, so why not talk about the Giants?
The Mets are a disaster, and my Knicks are it was depressing on Friday night.
I know, man. I know. Let's bring in Nails, biceps and all. Let's bring in Chris. Yo, buddy.
Hey, guys.
What's going on, man?
What's going on?
Hey, happy to be here. Let's roll.
Of course, because we're here every Monday.
Man of many words.
Here every Monday. When are we not here every Monday?
We're at a snail's crawl till we get to training camp, mini camp. So we're.
I know. Well, let's bring in Brian because realistically, the people that are coming in the room don't care about us. They want to talk to Brian because Brian's a superstar. So let's bring in Brian. Yo, B.
Thank you for that great introduction. I appreciate that.
Brian.
What I do. It's what I do.
Far from a superstar, maybe in only my kids' eyes, but yeah.
Hey, Brian, make sure you cash Craig's check right away. As soon as you get it, just go to the
Well, I did. I did
Do the phone quick.
You definitely want to cash that quick because I did have some expenses this week, so you definitely want to get that to the bank as soon as possible. So, guys, thanks for hanging out. Love to crank this up every single Monday. I see you guys piling in the room. Give a quick shout out to I see Jay, I see Darius, I see Mark, of course. I'm here from the beginning. Thanks, Mark. Always appreciate it. I see Chris. What's going on, gents? I see Joe. I see you guys all piling in. So thanks for tuning in. We're going to start off today's episode with something that I don't know. Danny gave me an idea last week about doing villains, and all you guys cried that I broke your heart with Deshaun Jackson.
I bet everyone. That was
yeah.
Craig didn't like my original ideas. He's like, "Come on, hit me." And I'm like, "All right, let's do something different."
Yeah, and listen, for the record, it's okay, Danny, because that's what I'm here to do, to take the heat. They love you. They hate me. It's all good. It's all cool in the gang. But this week, guys, I want to kind of ask you, and it's kind of, Brian's been around the Giants a long time too, so it fits, that we've all had guys that we loved them and they left, right? Or they came to us and we were like, whoa. So we're just going to call these traitors. I'm going to flip over here to my little made banners, right? So I can pop this up and show you this, right? Boom. Traitors of all time. Everybody's got a list. I got a list. Chris and I were chewing it up a little bit earlier in the week. Danny, I'm going to start with you. Give me one. I might even have a video for it because I did download some videos. Give me the one traitor that left the team. If you have one, that left the team and you were like, WTF.
All right. Well, I'm going right away just in case Chris doesn't steal mine because I asked Chris because obviously I'm the youngest one on the board. So everybody's going to take this one.
What are you trying to say? I'm old? Yeah, I know.
Chris confirmed that it was this certain situation. So I'm going Jim Burt, 49ers, and then the NFC Championship game when he low-bridged Hostetler.
That's
and that
awesome.
was the NFC Championship game.
That is a good one because, we were at that point where, you didn't know he wasn't going to sit on the bench anymore, right?
Right.
So you got in this spot where you're like, what do we do with Hostetler, right? Because he's a winner now.
No,
right?
I'm talking about Jim Burt.
Talking about Jim Burt.
Oh, what am I? Oh, yeah. So sorry, I totally went wrong direction. So Burt went to San Francisco. You never thought he would leave, right? Because he was like a giant through and through.
Yeah, you tell me. I was 3 when it happened.
Well, think about it. He was like one of those guys where when you think of the 86, that run, 84, 85, 86 through 88, right. He was like one of the guys. If I had to name like top Brian, and I know again, Brian, you're in the, you're of course younger than me too, but like when you think of those 80s teams, like do you not think of Jim Burt?
No, Jim Burt's a mainstay,
right.
Obviously. Absolutely.
Right.
That's all you think about. Just for the 86 Super Bowl, obviously,
right.
87 Super Bowl. But no, Jim Burt was a mainstay. He's one of the names on the defense that comes straight to mind. I mean,
right.
along which is right next to Harry Carson, right next to LT, right next to everybody else, Carl Banks, and all the guys that were on that team. Even Eric Dorsey, guys like that. It still comes to mind. First name that comes to my mind, though, is Jim Burt, one of them.
Yeah. And real quick, just to go off of what Brian said, when Pat Summerall and Madden would do those games, Madden couldn't help himself but talk about Jim Burt and how tight that shirt was around him. And the 6 was under the armpit. The 4 was on the back. Everybody loved Burt.
He seemed like he was one of the guys, like the unsung hero guys that every championship team needs.
When you're a New York Giants player, when you're a New York Giants player and you watch NFL films and Jim Burt's in that film and you see Jim Burt, that's it. End of story. You have that iconic picture in your head. So that's where it comes from. That's where it stems from. And then obviously the hit on Hostetler.
Well, so here's what's interesting too is, Danny, to your Jim Burt thing is, 2 things. One point that Chris just brought up was back then they didn't have custom fit jerseys like the one that we see now, or the one you're wearing, or the one that's behind. I see behind Brian, he's got a Humanura up there, like maybe an Armstead. They were all like custom tailored and fit those ones, right? These guys were like, especially the 86 team, they wore the wide mesh. They were wide like this, and they would just pull those underneath. And then they would tape them. They would pull them together, right? Mm-hmm. Like they'd pull the extra out, and they'd wrap a roll of tape on it, and then they would take the knot and they'd stuff the knot back inside. That's how they got so tight, because the jerseys weren't tight, even if it was tight on you.
It's like their practice jerseys that they wear now. That was their game day jerseys.
Yeah.
So because you saw Leonard Marshall have those pictures. I always saw Leonard Marshall having those stitching down the jerseys as well.
Yeah, because after a while, then they just started.
That was their only jersey, right? So
yep, then they started sewing them that way, right? Because they were like those Oiler jerseys with the big mesh in them, right? But here's one I'm gonna drop on you. Ready? I could be wrong, but we're Giants fans, so I'm leaning on it. It's the first time I've ever seen a Super Bowl winner go in the stands and pull his kids out.
Yeah.
So in 1986, when they win the Super Bowl, now guys have done it since then, but back then, guys didn't go in the stands.
Well, now they're all coming to them. They all have the passes. And
exactly. I mean, Jim Burt stood on the sidelines and reached in for his boys and pulled them out of the stands. I can't remember in the 80s ever anyone doing that before. He might have been, for all I know, the first one to do it.
Another NFL Films shot when you see that. When you're rewatching that Super Bowl, when you're watching the replays, but on Super Bowl week, that shot you see during that week.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
we definitely have it in America's game too.
Yeah, so it kind of like Burt started that. That hurt definitely. I don't know how much he had left in the tank because he had that. I think at San Francisco, but it definitely hurt to see him leave. All right, how about you, B? You got a guy that either came or left that really was like one of your top, what I want to call traitors.
So I'm going to stay. I have a bunch of names here, right? I put together a list, and when you came out with this list, and when you said traitors, I'm saying to myself, I'm really stumped here. I mean, this is not an easy task. And I'm thinking of guys that left the Giants, right?
Yep.
And immediately I think of guys that left the Giants and went to our rivals or the Jets, right? So I'm going to go with an and or here, and I'm going to stay in that realm of time frame. I'm going to go Leonard Marshall, big number 70. When he left the Giants and then he went to the Jets, And then he does a stint with the Redskins. I mean, how bad could that be? When I got to see Leonard Marshall playing defense for the New York Jets in the same stadium every week the Jets are playing, right after he goes to the Super Bowl with the Giants. I mean, that killed me. I loved Leonard Marshall. I actually met him a few times as a kid, signed a bunch of stuff, really nice guy. And now he's come through the fan hallways every now and then, and he's just the best guy ever. But it killed me when I was a kid, 10 years old, and Leonard Marshall went to go play for the New York Jets and then doubled down and goes to the Redskins. Did not like that.
Well, listen, I will make you a promise. I will make you a promise that before the season starts, I'll have you back on with Leonard because we're personal friends with Leonard.
Okay, great. See, even more reason he's a good guy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he is a great guy. We got friendly with him last year because when he was going into the Ring of Honor, I asked him to do an interview with him. So we did an interview with him around this time, around like that June time, May, June time. We hit it off right away. It's a great story. His wife said, the interview is over, and he sends me a text and he says, my wife wants to know who I'm talking to, that I'm never on the phone that long with anybody. And he said, I don't know. I just hit it off with these guys and we were talking football. So we hit it off.
Really good dude.
Yeah. And I asked him if I could make Leonard Marshall shirts for the Ring of Honor. And we raised money for his charity. So I made all the Leonard Marshall shirts. We sold them on the NYGIANTSRUSH.com. And I went to his house for him to sign them. Just really good guy. Really good guy. And some of the stories he told us, listen, the guy, worked at the racetrack to make money.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to use his football money because they didn't pay him that much money,
And another guy who has iconic footage, NFL films, Leonard Marshall, helmet in the back, Montana. We all know it. Dan Deerdorf doing the call. And that was just, for me, my childhood, Leonard Marshall was one of my guys. So, and also I put a list together of straight guys that left the team and went to our rivals. That's my list. That's it. Left the team, went to rivals.
All right. Let me get one from you, Chris, because I'm certain you've got an extensive list. Because
Chris, hit him with the good one you had.
No, I'm gonna try. Well, are we talking trades too? We're gonna count trades, even though it's out of their control.
No, because if you're traded, you're not really a trader, right? Like that was you. Like technically, a trader would be you left the team and you were a trader and you came to us, or you took some money and you left. Trade's tough. So let's negate the trade.
Yeah. Okay. So let's how about somebody that came to the Giants? Once again, let's talk Jets. I mean, he wasn't here a long time, but we had some bad teams. Damian Snacks Harrison, that had to hurt Jet fans to see that big run stopper in the middle for us for those few years.
All pro for that 1 year.
So as a Jet fan, that had to hurt to see him.
And we that was the year we brought in like 4 free agents. And three or four like big stuff: Jackrabbit, Snacks,
and
Rogers,
Cromartie.
Oh no, Cromartie was like a year before.
Oh, was he? I thought he was.
Okay.
Yeah,
because we didn't bring in 2 corners that year. It was Cromartie the year before. Then it was Jackrabbit, Snacks, and who was the third guy?
Olivier Vernon.
Olivier
Vernon.
Oh my goodness,
Cleveland.
I've never hated a player more than that cat. Just saying.
You didn't like that number 54 running up and down?
I didn't like the 54. I didn't like the have no sacks all year and then beat up on the Redskins for 4 sacks and be like, I had a great year. No, you sucked.
So I guess it's safe to say you will not be making T-shirts for Olivier Vernon's charity, I guess, huh?
No, I will not be. I'm not a fan. I'm sure he's a nice guy.
So,
I'm sure he's a nice guy.
Jay says it in the chat. Pressures and no sacks. I never saw anybody not get to the quarterback.
Yes. Wait, who said that?
Jay.
That's great.
Well, Jay is a genius because that is exactly what Vernon's issue was. Nothing.
He would miss the quarterback by a
pressures.
second.
That's right.
And Brian, you have to understand where I come from. I don't like the analytic company. I won't even bring their name up on my show, okay? Because 2 things. This is not me making it up to make you laugh. I had a guy from that organization tell me that half sacks were worth full sacks. And I lost my mind. And I'm like, how was it possible if 2 guys arrive at the same point and bring a quarterback down, that's a full sack? They needed someone else to help them bring it down. They each get a half sack.
You're preaching to the choir. Preaching to the choir.
Yeah. And if you have 8 sacks, that means he has 16 sacks. I'm like, it makes no sense.
Well, if you ask me, analytics from all levels from the top down are ruining sports. But whatever. That's a story for another day.
Yeah, that might be another show, but I'm with you. All right. I'm with you, though. Snacks was definitely one of them. But I got one, guys, and I actually downloaded the video so we could have a little fun with it. To me, this is the all-time Traitor. All right, let me.
Is this someone who went from the Giants to another team?
No.
Okay.
This is someone who came to the Giants and was a traitor for their own team. I'm going to play this little clip for you because.
Are we doing a guessing game or no? Is that now?
Oh, we can do that. All right. All right. Okay, B, what do you think it is?
Well, all right. Can I ask how many questions do I get? Can I get a question or two?
This is
You get one guess.
Oh, one guess.
Chuckle. This is Chuckle.
I think this is the biggest, to me, it's the biggest traitor we've ever had.
It's a Chuckle. No Chuckle.
Biggest traitor you've ever had. But and they were see, this is what I'm saying. Were they good with the Giants? Were they successful with the Giants? They were
great. They were good on another team and they were great with us.
Huh.
Knowing Craig.
They left their team and came to the Giants.
Boy. You know what? I'm stumped. I said let's do a guessing game and I'm stumped.
You know what?
Guy who played great for another team. Was it our rival? Was it a rivalry team?
No rival.
No rival.
Man, I definitely knew what Craig was thinking.
Shame on you, Danny. Shame on you for not knowing.
All right, you're going Plexico.
Ah, ding, 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 ding.
Wow,
ding.
Plexico. All right.
Let's just in honor of the number one traitor in my book, let's play this.
39 seconds left. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Great.
39 seconds.
Greatest night of my life. This was peak college for me.
Yep. It doesn't get any better than that. Now,
I think I'm still blacked out from that game.
Yeah. I mean, listen.
My best day was 46 because I was there. Otherwise, 2008 would be right there.
100%. 100%. Yep. Listen, I love them all. But to me, when I think about a guy who was a traitor to his own team, who was already a good wide receiver, came here and literally was like it. Like he was it. If he didn't shoot himself in the leg, he would have broken all the receiving records.
And he cost us a second Super Bowl, too.
And a Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
So, all right, Danny, I'm going to bring it back to you to give me one because I do have some other videos in here that you might be able to nail. So I'm going to do a little fishing and see if this traitor came from another team, was good, and also was great on the Giants. And I'm going to see, if maybe you're thinking the same thing, Danny. Who's your next guy?
I'm not trying to read the chat. That's the problem. I'm trying to not read the chat.
Why there's
I see a couple. I saw 2 names. I'm like, oh man, that's a good one. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna go.
Chris, wait. By the way, Chris is now my stinking hero. Chris Peace, I'm giving a shout out to you. DM me your address. Sending you some gear because you just said that I was 13 during that Super Bowl. I like you so much, Mr. Peace. You are now you are getting a big fat prize back from King Rush in the mail at any time. Because at 13, I think he just gave me like 15 years. That's awesome.
All right, I got a good one. He came from the Jets.
Oh,
and he was a big clog in the offensive line for the runs.
Yes, I got you.
And one of them, probably the most underrated player on those teams. I'm gonna go Kareem McKenzie.
Yep. Ooh, man. I loved Kareem McKenzie.
I knew right when he said that key cog in the offensive line. That was it for me.
Man, you know what's funny too? Guy never said anything. He was just like a silent
Isn't he
assassin.
a doctor now? Didn't he just graduate or something? He just got
I think he got a PhD. Something. Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the missing piece on that line too.
Yes.
And just you're right. I know what? Shame on me. I did not have him on my list. I'm writing it down.
He just popped up in my head.
Everybody knows Dave Deal. Everybody knows Soybert. Everybody knows but McKenzie was a very silent piece in that offensive line. That was tremendous.
Him and Snead together on the right side were huge.
Yeah, without a doubt. He was just like I said, I love the fact that he just did his job, quiet, no
one ever realized nowadays everybody's, oh, this guy sucks, that guy sucks. You never heard a peep from like, oh, Kareem McKenzie cost us a game.
Once we got Luke Pettigrew out of here, we were good to go.
Oh man! All right, all right. I'm gonna
the
go
human
back
hold
down.
penalty.
Oh, he goes, why are you trying to give me nightmares, man? I'm still
Craig,
trying to
weren't
get
you at that game?
Yes. I was that the Seattle one?
Yes, Jay Feely.
Yeah. So Brian, I happened to be in Seattle at the game where Jay Feely missed all 3 field goals and Luke Pettigrew had, I think, 6 pounds.
You realize that cost us a home field advantage and Tiki Barber winning MVP that year?
That guy.
I remember very well.
Every time there was a penalty, it was always number 77. You couldn't avoid it. You couldn't avoid it. I was like, it's got to be on Pettigrew. It's got to be.
I was sitting pretty high up in the stands at the Seahawks Stadium. I almost climbed over the wall and just jumped off because it was like I couldn't figure out what was worse: the holding penalties or that stupid Smurf kicker who kept missing every damn kick. I was like, how is this possible?
Every time I see Jay Feely on CBS, I get angry.
Yeah.
Flashback, yeah.
All right, Chris, what do you got?
Yeah.
You got one for me?
Yeah, I'll give you one. Let's see. What hurt when he left? Let's go with Linval Joseph when he goes to the Vikings.
So, my friend, you and I are on the same page. Let me play you something that shows how good Linval Joseph was when he left our team.
He just needs to get a little more acclimated with the playbook, but ran a good route on that play. Ball's out, picked up by the Vikings. Joseph, can he?
Wow, that was weird. It says file. Let me try it again. I have the file, but it won't play it for some reason.
We got it. He scored.
It's probably
10 more yards. We got it.
Probably YouTube.
He just needs to get a little more acclimated with the playbook, but ran a good route on that play. Ball's out, picked up by the Vikings. Joseph, can he win this long foot race? Linval Joseph, no flags, touchdown Minnesota.
How about that? Listen, he was the strongest guy on the Giants. You know, he left for some extra money. He was worth every dollar he got. You know, it was a run of Giants defensive tackles between Hankins and Cofield and Joseph. Like, we just never re-signed any of them. Dexter might be the first one we've re-signed in a decade. So, yeah, Chris.
Yeah.
It hurt when he left. You know, we thought we had a homegrown guy.
Oh, yeah. That hurt. That hurt
a lot.
And as I just showed you, not only did he have sacks and stuff to run, big man knows how to get upfield.
Yeah, for sure.
He was drafted out of Miami. I loved him. He played well for the Giants. It just didn't fit into the grand scheme of things. We're trying to re-sign everybody. He just couldn't fit because he was good and he was going to get paid elsewhere. And that's really what it came down to, you know?
Yeah.
All right, B, you're up.
All right, listen, I'm going to go back in the day with you guys, all right? And I don't know what the whole listening audience is, but back in the day, Tom Landry, who instills the defense, that's legendary defense in the Giants organization for years and years and years. He leaves in 1960, right? The Giants go on a little stint from 61 to 63, and then they fall off the face of the earth to the early 80s. Tom Landry moving from the Giants to go to the Cowboys and then winning as many Super Bowls as he did. That's a traitor for you right there. Tom Landry, all right? One of the most legendary coaches in NFL history, a Giants traitor. Your thoughts? And
you know what's interesting is, you know, there's a lot of shadows back then with Lombardi and like there's, you know, I don't know if he ever would have had the legendary status if he stayed, right? I mean, I think
Doomsday defense. He's the orchestrator.
I know, but when listen, they all want to be head coaches. No one wants to be a coordinator for life. Now there are, right? There are, but 9 out of 10. Listen, we all know Belichick's right now the best head coach we've ever seen, but we all know that he created all those great Giant defenses. Would he have the same allure if he never, left? I don't know.
Yes.
You think so?
I do. I think
It
so.
is crazy. We had three of the top 5 head coaches of all time as assistant coaches. And
Oh yeah,
none of them.
Marcel's
That's what I'm
Pelican.
saying. Like, it's crazy. They never were our head coach, and Lombardi was the biggest one with Wellington. It was just like, man, we should have just did it. I think I read somewhere that was his biggest regret, one of his biggest regrets as the owner.
For some reason, us in grooming coaches that way, I don't know, am I crazy? But none of them really panned out. I mean, look at Sean Payton and John Fox. We had both of them on the same staff.
Right.
You know, Sean Payton, look at him now. And John Fox wasn't, it's not Sean Payton, but he wasn't bad either. And you had them right behind Fossil.
Yeah.
We never really push them through the system that way. Am I crazy with that?
No, I think you're right.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
Great point. And don't forget, again, not quite in that category, but that B- category was Mike Nolan.
Yeah.
I mean, he had some good years at San Fran, and then he just couldn't get over the hump. You know what I mean? I think Harbaugh stepped in there, somewhere in there, but they've always had really good quality. Look, we never gave Spagnuolo the job either, so we
didn't look
don't.
Like he was ready for it anyway. Unfortunately,
no. But again, when we promote a guy like McAdoo, right? I mean,
right.
All the guys
Absolutely.
we should have promoted, we
You're
don't
right.
promote the right guy. All right. That one's tough to beat. that one is tough to beat.
Yeah.
I have one. I have 3 in here. I'm gonna play one for you guys because I think it's probably from a defensive perspective, it might be the second best trader of all time. One, of course, being Plaxico on the offensive side, but this guy ain't nobody studied more film. Ain't nobody came out of
I was waiting
nowhere.
for you to say this one.
Yeah,
this is one of your guys.
Yeah, it's one of my guys for many reasons, like undersized, huge heart, smart, watch more film than anyone on the planet, could dissect the play before the play started, good quality guy, and just made plays. And the sad part is we haven't had anybody since he left. I'll pop this up on here and you tell me. And by the way, I have the video of one of the most iconic plays he's ever made.
It's a good thing that he's out there on the field. I said Webster. It's Ross who has the dislocated shoulder that we witnessed last week in Dallas. Favre now on 3rd down, setting up a screen, and you talk about a great play by Antonio Pierce. Troy, there was nobody else out there, and if Pierce doesn't do that, it's at the least a 1st down, if not a touchdown.
Yeah, and there were blockers there. You're right. Antonio Pierce right here in the middle. He reads it and sees that screen, and look what he's got out in front of him. I mean, there's 3 blockers, and yet he's able to go through them and get there to make the play. I mean, this was going to be a big gain if Pierce isn't there in order to bring him to the ground.
Freaking love it.
Most underrated play of that whole playoff.
Yes.
You can argue the last legitimate linebacker we had.
And I applaud it because it's damn true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can tiptoe around it all you want. That guy was all heart, made great plays. Like I said, calling out the plays before they were was snapped. Talk about pre-read, right? Or pre-snap reads. That guy was the epitome of pre-snap read. But I always love that play because it doesn't get a lot of pump. But I mean, the guy had 3 guys. He fought through a tackle and the tight end, and I don't know, just another guy that we brought from the Redskins, and everybody was like, "Who's this guy?"
Mm-hmm.
And then we were like,
we
"Oh,
knew right away." Yeah,
Undrafted.
Yeah, we were like, "Oh, he can stay."
Mm-hmm.
He could
all
wear.
right.
He could wear
How we
Banks'
long-
number.
How we long for the days of Antonio Pierce and Kavika Mitchell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Coming back.
And I love you say that because we interviewed Mitchell last year, and he was so humble and so quiet and so chill. And they all say the same thing. They don't want to leave. They hope that they can just get a contract because they all want to stay, but they just we're a little conservative when it comes to paying some of these guys.
You could tell through the course of that season, Kavika Mitchell liked playing on that defense. He enjoyed it. You could, especially in that Super Bowl too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially because Kansas City was terrible back then. All right, B, what do you got for me? You got another one for me? And then
Of
Chris,
course.
actually, you know what? We got Landry. Chris, I'll give you a shot at this. because I've got a couple more videos here, and then we'll jump into the schedule. So give me your last one.
Well, since we talked coaches, I mean, listen, we love him. He's iconic. But when Bill Parcells, and mind you, his daughter's name is Dallas, but when Bill Parcells goes to Dallas, I mean, talk about ripping your heart out as a Giant fan. The Jets we could handle. The Patriots we could handle. Jets to a point we could handle. But all bets are off when he went to Dallas. It was a villain. He was a heel. If you're talking like wrestling, he became the heel. And thank you, Romo, for dropping that snap on the field goal or the extra point because he might have stayed another year.
Right.
Well,
but thank you, Terrell Owens. That drove him nuts. So Terrell Owens drove him insane. So that
without a doubt, yeah. And that was one that, like, you felt like he sold out.
Yes.
Like he just right, Chris. He was like,
yes.
you were like
Jersey guy, Giants growing up.
You're like, go anywhere, just not there.
Yeah, he wasn't traded. He wasn't traded. He was free to go wherever.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I had a list here, and so we could jump into the schedule, guys. I had a list for Traitors with JPP and Bradbury. I had Lindell, Joseph, and Ingram on there. A little bit of Blackburn, Tuck, and Cruz, but Cruz really never did anything in Chicago.
He didn't even make the team.
Yeah, Nixon, Bradshaw had some pretty decent years with the Colts. Productive, not anything stellar. And then on the other side, we did pick up Plax, Pierce, Boley, Sam Madison. If you remember, Sam Madison was a great pickup from Miami.
Yep. CD1.
And then, of course, DRC came in and actually had a Pro Bowl year. So that was my list. Brian, read your list off because I know you had an extensive NFC list.
Mine's a little shorter because, again, I'm talking about guys that left the team and went to an immediate rival. So real quick, the honorable mentions will be Pepper Johnson. The only reason why he didn't go to a rival, but he decided to go team up with his buddy Bill Belichick over in Cleveland. Instead of playing for the Giants and staying there, he wanted to go play for his buddy Bill. So that's why I put Pepper Johnson on the list. Cornelius Griffin jumped ship, went to the Redskins after making the Super Bowl with the Giants, playing right next to the Hammer. That one hit me. I didn't like that. Cornelius Griffin, Jumbo Elliott, Bart Oates won a third Super Bowl with the 49ers, jumped ship from us, ran over to the Niners to win another Super Bowl. Of course, most recent, James Bradbury, and that's where I top it off right there.
Yeah.
That's a walk-off.
Right.
Yeah. And you know what, B? The Bradbury thing definitely bothered me, but as the world of sports goes, people try to tell me he wasn't going to fit because he's a cover corner. And I always, again, I know that's the right answer, right? I know that's the right answer. So what I'm about to say won't make sense to some people, but James Bradbury had to play man at somewhere in his career. It's not like the kid went to high school and college and never played man. He may specialize in zone, right? But I just said to myself, like, do we really want to get rid of this guy because he can't play man? Like, why don't we let him try some man? Like, how bad can he be? He's an NFL cornerback. I don't know. I get it. Guys specialize in certain stuff. I get it. Jackrabbit comes here. He's a man corner. A man. But I was like, like you. I was like, dude. And then you drive down 95 and go to the Eagles.
Eagles waited for him, right? Like he was literally at a stop away, and the Eagles were just like,
if they didn't make the Super Bowl and he wasn't an All-Pro in the same year, I probably wouldn't feel that much angst towards it. But because he's an All-Pro and they went to the Super Bowl, I don't like it.
100%.
Before we move over to the schedule, I'm going to flip the coin on that and remember, Class Act stood up and said, I shouldn't have held that guy. Like, I mean, he could have just been like Umgats. Instead, he was like, he was a class act. It actually made me want him back. I was like, look, this guy is a good locker room guy. Yep. He stood right up there and was like, I held him. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, nobody takes that type of responsibility in the NFL.
We don't need him anymore. We got your boy Banks.
We did get my boy Banks. We did get my boy. I can't understand half the things he says. He's so excited and he talks so fast. I have trouble catching up with him. He's just so full of energy. I'm like, whoa, slow down, dude. I'm trying to catch up with you. All right. Well, thanks for watching another episode of Giants Rush. That was and again, we could chew that up for hours. A little bit of a traitor. Who's the all-time traitors there's probably more out there. You guys probably all have your ones. I had videos of JPP in here, him making a sack on Aaron Rodgers with 8 fingers or 7.5 fingers. So that was definitely one that bothered me because I was a big JPP guy.
I think
guys,
we all were. Correct.
Yeah, it's very true. We probably all were. There are 90 comments in here. Holy smoke. What am I missing in here? You guys, Justin Tuck, who did go to the Raiders. I do see you, Darius. That is a great point. Bradbury leaving didn't bother Thomas at all. I'm just cruising through all these comments. Nick Gates to Washington. Listen, he didn't want to go. We spent a lot of time with Nick Gates over the last month. He did not want to go. He did not want to leave. But they didn't want him, and he wanted to play center. Ike Hilliard for Tampa. Yep, sure, that's out there. I'm just cruising through. You guys got a ton of stuff going on here. You guys are talking about. JPP was really one of our only that played up to 100%. JPP was a stud. All right, guys. Another thing that would happen this week, which we cannot stop buzzing about, is the schedule. Dun, dun, dun. Like, it is something that everybody wants to talk about. And the funny thing is, this is how stupid I am. Every year I say the same thing. What do I say, Danny? I don't really care. I know. They all make fun of me. I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, line them up, knock them down.
I'm with
and I'm just like, I don't understand why all these people get all crazy about the schedule. Like, you can't control it.
Nope.
Who gives a crap?
Nope.
Yeah.
This is the first year where I was literally like this. What happened? Why is this way? And I came up, and Brian, I'm gonna start with you because you live and breathe New York sports every day and every night. It feels so like this whole 7 out of 11, right? Or away. And I may be a conspiracy guy, but does this have to do with Rodgers? Keeping Rodgers at home in front of a home crowd on prime time? Like, is that part of this?
I think that there could be different elements that come to the scheduling, but for the Jets, for Aaron Rodgers to be at home, it probably does have something to do with it, but it's only based on the fact that they share the stadium together and they're trying to work it out that way. But going back to what you were saying to start, you don't care, line them up, knock them down type of thing. The teams that we are playing on this schedule, we couldn't avoid. We're playing these teams, right? And aside from Washington and the Rams and Green Bay now, all these guys are good teams. I mean, all these teams are good teams. Unfortunately, we drew this year the AFC East, which could be, now that Rodgers is in the mix in that division, could be one of the hardest divisions in the NFL. So aside from, the AFC West out there, but when is the fact that what I'm upset about with this schedule is the number of primetime games that are so early. We have a lot of primetime games, and then we're out in California the first 3 weeks. Are we staying out there? Are we coming back? I hope not. I don't know. We're staying out there. We're staying out there.
They didn't make it official yet, but I would assume the logical.
Yeah, actually, Brian, a report came out that the Giants requested to either play Vegas week 2.
Okay.
Or the Cardinals because they and keep them on the West Coast. So they gave them the Cardinals just for that reason to bang out those 2 West. So I think the Giants, had something to do with that. Maybe they would have gotten a home game on that second week, but I think they wanted back-to-back on the road out there because they are going to stay out there.
So judging by that report alone, right, when that came out, that tells me the Giants had a little bit of a hand of their own scheduling. They were conversing with the NFL to see what makes sense. So that tells me that the Giants themselves were okay with what was happening with the schedule. So right off the bat, for a fan to get upset about it, listen, we're gonna have to play these teams anyway. We're gonna have to play Washington twice. They stink. We're going to have to play the Rams. They're not as good. And beat Green Bay. Who knows what Green Bay is going to be. But you look at the Dolphins, the Bills, the Patriots, of course. You always got to throw them in there. Now we drew the Saints, and the Saints just got Derek Carr. They're going to be a formidable team. They'll probably win the South down there. So you know what? The teams we had to play are the teams we had to play. I'm more concerned with the fact that we have a lot of primetime games and that we're staying out in California or out west 2 weeks in a row. But again, it looks like that was part of what the Giants wanted to request. So that's the way I feel about the schedule. Line them up, knock them down, like Craigie said, and let's go to work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Chris, Seattle. You got Seattle at home, right?
Yeah.
And then you go and you play back-to-back Dolphins Bills. That's tough.
The Bills are also Sunday night in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Bills Sunday night. I mean, at least it won't be cold. You know, it's middle October. But on October 8th, we have we're in Miami away. Then you come back up the coast for the 15th to play the Bills, Chris.
And Craig, if you look at
we're
that,
on prime time for those games.
If you look at September 21st against the Niners, that Thursday night game, boy, Giants got almost like a little mini bye if you think of it that way. They don't play again till the following week on Monday night against Seattle. So that's not bad. I mean, you get those few extra days. But I'm with you, and like Brian said, too many primetime games. The first Sunday 1 o'clock home game is until the 22nd of October, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
I think that's crazy. That's for me, guy who works all kinds of hours. Those primetime games kill me, and there's no way I'm going to bed. I'm just going on 3 hours of sleep for the day. But yes, I mean the primetime games are just they're real pain, and to have a 1 o'clock game, not happen till October 22nd. Just
it's
not cool.
insane. Especially the three of us are season ticket holders. We breathe for those 1 o'clock games.
Right. I mean, I will say this: when you look at Dallas, get them early, right before they get a groove going. I mean, Dak's not going to hardly play probably in preseason, and then you're getting maybe Colt McCoy, Purdy, and Geno. So I mean, those are winnable games.
Yeah, no, it's going to definitely be interesting. It's just insane. We're like the Broncos though. Yeah. Hopefully we play better than them, but it's going to be we're going to be that, they're on prime time again. Yes, they are. It's not our fault.
Yeah, that is definitely true. Coach of the year helps a little bit there, right?
And I made the tweet the other day, and a couple of people liked it and retweeted it. If we get through this gauntlet and we survive it, Dable should be in the running for Coach of the Year again for back-to-back.
I'm gonna put this comment up here because it's funny because there's days where I believe this.
Yeah.
Foot says the NFL hates the New York Giants.
But I was just going to say, what about last year when we had one of the most favorable schedules in the NFL? So, you could sit here and say that, but I mean, last year was one of the most favorable schedules in the NFL. And even with the favorable schedule and the Giants, quote unquote, overachieving, we didn't show up a playoff spot till New Year's Day. Mm-hmm. So I don't think this year is going to be any different. It's going to go right down to the wire. And I think the Giants are going to be right in the running, maybe in the last couple of weeks of the season, which is what the NFL wants. So at the end of the day, I think the Giants will still be there. Will they make the playoffs? I don't know. It's going to be a little bit of luck sprinkled in, and hopefully we can sew things up against the Rams. I mean, that's basically where I'm sitting.
Danny, what's the game in here that you saw? Forget time, forget home or away. What's the one game in here that you think the Giants either A, need to win or there's an upset in the making? Is there one game that just sticks out to you?
Let me look at the schedule. The one that sticks out to me, let me see. I mean, I would love to beat the Niners. That would be huge, especially knowing how much they love to focus on the running game. Us being week 3, and we're Thursday night, the whole world's watching us. And let's see if our run defense that we picked up in the offseason is actually improved. That would be my week 3 Niners Thursday night on the road. Tough matchup. We haven't been home in a week and a half, and no one's going to expect us to do anything really because we're the Giants, and we punch them in the mouth. That would be very nice.
So, Chris, and I like that school of thought, Danny, because it's always fun to go out west and get a win, right? Because I don't know about you guys, but I live with Trey Junkin always in the back of my mind when we go out to San Fran. But I'll tell you this, Chris, and I don't know if you have the schedule in front of you by any chance.
I do.
All right, I'm going to tell you what the key to this schedule is, and I am no wizard. I am no calculus major, but I'm going to tell you the key to this schedule. It is November 5th against the Raiders. And the reason why is twofold. One is the week before you have the Jets at home, right?
I didn't realize we're on the road 3 straight weeks after that. Holy crap.
Correct. That's we steal my thunder.
Sorry.
Right? No, it's fine. It's fine, but that's it. So you need to go away and beat the Raiders because you've got Dallas the week after, the Commanders after that, and you just played Aaron Rodgers at home. So can you imagine losing to Aaron Rodgers at home, getting beat by the Raiders, getting beat by Dallas, and then having to go play the Commanders? You could go 0-4.
And that's why that first game against Dallas, you got to get them early because you can't anticipate beating Dallas on the road.
He's
after
stealing
that
my
road.
thunder. He's stealing. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Right.
So my pivotal game, like that I think the Giants need to win, like at all costs, is that Raider game to break that up in the middle because you don't know what's going to happen with the Jets and you don't know what's going to happen with Dallas. You can't afford to let Rodgers beat you, Carr beat you, and Dak beat you. Like, I mean, that would be an awful stretch of games. Now you're in the hole, right?
Well, it's
so that
Jimmy
Raider
G.
game sticks
Jimmy
out
G.
to me. What's that, Danny?
You said Carr. It's Jimmy G.
Oh, sorry. Did I? My bad. It's right.
It's all good.
He went
It's been
to
a long
Saints.
time.
Yeah, right. That game, and again, Jimmy G is he's a nice quarterback, but he's beatable. But that Raider game makes a difference. Brian, you were gonna say Dallas.
How many times do we open up with Dallas? When's the last time the Giants beat Dallas in one of these home openers?
I don't know, 10 years.
It's been a long time, right?
Well, we haven't.
And right, it's been a very long time, and it's been a very long time since we've seen anything from this team, except for last year, with the exception of last year. When Giants get off to that start and they play the Cowboys and lose, it's always pretty much made for a long season. Let's get out right off and the biggest part about this Cowboy game, I can't believe I'm dissecting week 1 already against the Cowboys, but
that's
I'm
what
about to
happens
do.
when the Mets
What else are we gonna do?
I'm about to do it. I'm about to break down Giants Cowboys week 1, but I think the offense needs to show everybody that this is Daniel Jones's team. Hopefully Saquon is in the mix. We hope, right? And the receiving core, there's no worries. So whoever they pick, they got a plethora of receivers. I mean, I was just looking at all these receivers this team has. Once they figure out their receiving core, I think they need to come out guns blazing, put up big numbers against the Cowboys in week 1. And I'll tell you right now, and mark my words right here, the Cowboys are taking a large step back this year. I don't like the fact that McCarthy has all this on his plate now. He never performed well when he took care of all this stuff up in Green Bay. He's going to have a lot on his plate. He's got big shoes to fill. Jerry Jones was not happy with the way last year ended. I think McCarthy's going to feel the pressure this year. Dallas takes a huge step back. Got to get him week 1.
All right. Then let me ask you about, I'm going to reverse this on you, B.
Okay.
Nothing like ever surprises me with the Giants, pretty much. And nothing, and
it shouldn't. It shouldn't, right? We've seen it all.
Yeah, we have seen it all. And I'm starting to see a trend with the NFL that I don't like, and I don't know why it is. I mean, I know why it is, but it feels almost insulting. You're at the first game of the year, punch Dallas in the mouth, come out, you know what I mean, and win that game. I'm going to completely go the opposite way for you. And week 17. Like, why do we have to play the Eagles twice in 3 weeks? Like, it just doesn't, like, I know exactly. Yeah.
It's always the answer.
Yep. Follow the money.
Follow the money, man. The NFL is pretty much telling you the division's going to come down to Giants Eagles, and a playoff spot could come down to either team, and they want those guys on prime time. And that's why, if you see right now, there's no time for that game. So
and it's interesting you point that out, because with the rotation of the NFC East, the Giants should have actually finished up with Dallas this year. Right. But they skipped it, and they put Philly again back, second year in a row. So that is a little strange.
So
and what's the thing? Is it strange anymore?
No, follow the money.
Yeah, follow the money. I think,
because it's not strange.
Well, the whole
anymore.
league has TBD for the last week anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, but I mean, this is like a trend
for that reason.
Yeah,
for that reason,
starting to be a trend where they're kind of like, they want good primetime games at the end of the year. But it's tough to, regardless of what happens, it's just tough to play the same team twice in 3 weeks.
And listen, going back to the schedule and getting this game 1 against the Cowboys, if you look, game 1 against the Cowboys, I'm sorry, I feel like it's a winnable game. You're at home, right? Next week, Arizona, winnable game. Follow a week against San Francisco. Now, you are still out there. It's going to be a long couple of weeks, but that's a winnable game too.
You don't even know who the quarterback is.
Right. And you're looking at
they run the ball though. That's why I alluded to before. Like, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is.
Right.
They're still going to find a guy to run over a couple thousand yards. And
we weren't the best against the run.
What am I talking about? It's Christian McCaffrey. Duh.
Yeah. Christian McCaffrey's playing quarterback. Christian McCaffrey's playing running back. Christian McCaffrey's punting.
And then we come back and play Seattle, and we have a long layoff, like Chris was saying prior to that.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to be the beacon of optimism here, but I could see it. If we get game 1 against Dallas and we don't look terrible out there, I could see us going on a little run to start the season. I don't know. Am I crazy by saying that?
There you go.
No, I don't think you are.
There you go. There you go, folks. Ready? The beacon of optimism. Yeah. I absolutely love it. I swear I'm calling you that from now on. That was priceless right there.
Then you don't know me because I'm the beacon of pessimism.
Yeah. No, listen. No, we're all Giants fans. We're all kind of in that same.
Don't take my shine, Brian.
Yeah. I mean, look, we all are really happy where the Giants have gone. And we'd like a couple breaks to go our way. So I'll take all the beacon of optimism I can get, I guess on the schedule, the game I was going to ask you guys about, because when you look at, again, a lot of prime time, does it bother you at all? And Danny, I'm going to ask you this because, look, we all got, Brian's got kids, Chris got kids, you got kids, I got kids. Like, if you saw any tweet I tweeted out this week, it was like 3-4 words, and it was like the answer to the tweet was this year, because everybody wants to know, don't worry about it. Giants, Philly, they're playing in Philly. And my response is this year. Like, if they put Giants, Eagles, no offense, I don't want to go to a Giant game on Christmas Day.
Yeah, no,
you're going to have more domestic issues than any other day in the world.
Yeah, I'm unfortunately would have to sell.
Think about it.
What do they always say? It's not even debatable, too.
No, you got kids, especially you're doing the Santa thing. You're
the big guy is still around.
Racetracks and dolls and all this stuff, dude. Like, why would the NFL? I get it. Follow the money.
Yeah.
But dang, man. Like, Christmas is just like, why you got to mess with Christmas? On top of the fact, if your team loses. Like, now the cops are coming to a lot of people's houses. Your kids are getting taken by DYFS. What's going on? Why is the NFL going this route? I don't know.
You got to remember, most people will just have the game on, and a lot of stuff will be going on. But the fact that it's on, that's all that needs to be. So that's why the NFL is able to sell that. And there you go. It's just, it's money. Listen, I'll be glued. My Marin will be on the couch watching. I'll be watching it. So.
The difference is, Brian, is that you're looking at 3 guys that have season tickets. So next year, we're all glued just like you because we've been up to 3:00 in the morning building train sets, but or whatever it may be, riding, putting together the new bike and stuff. But listen, next year when it's a home game, and you're going to be like,
thankfully,
I used to have seasons. I don't anymore.
Thankfully, Christmas is not on a Monday this year, so we dealt with that.
I went on Christmas Eve when I had season tickets. I went on Christmas Eve against the Saints, and they got blown.
Last home game.
They got blown out.
Yep. I remember that too. Chris and I, we're always there. Snow, rain.
And they know what they're doing. They put the game at 4:30 while everybody's in the middle of dinner. They're still there hanging around. They're not putting it at 8:00. Everybody's 100%. On the road heading back.
Well, what do you guys do for
right in the middle? Everybody's eating.
I made sure we ate dinner early.
Yeah,
you have left my in-laws at halftime, and
well, those of us who are Italian, we eat by 2:00, so by 4:30 we should be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, so. But I don't do the whole 7 fishes thing because half my family's Irish, so I just have a bad temper and drink too much.
Yeah, we don't do it either.
Craig does 7 Heinekens, 7 Guinnesses.
I was feuding.
5 fishes.
I was feuding with my family, so I had no problems watching the game.
There you go. All right, so. Schedule has its goods and bads. Like I said, you can't change it, so no reason to argue over it. But, Brian, if I had to ask, and I don't normally do this, but I just wanted to get a feel for, maybe what your colleagues are thinking, what you're thinking, like what the fans are thinking when they call in. Like, most of the people I talk to think this is an 8, 9, or 10-win team. Do you believe that is accurate? Like, do you feel that's possible?
Yes, I do. You look at Vegas, right, and the over-under, and listen, they're not wrong. Their over-under is at 8.5. prior to the draft, prior to the schedule, the number was at 8.5. It hasn't moved, which actually surprises me. So the fact that we're all on this whole big stratosphere that the schedule sucks, we have too many primetime games, it's a lot, we're going to be in California, whatever the case may be, that line has not changed from 8.5, right? So, and listen, I'm a big gambler. I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot. So I look at that line all the time, and the line hasn't moved. I think you're right there. I think you're at an 8.5, 9, 10-win team. I'd like to side on the way of 10, obviously. I'd like to see 11. But I think you got to really stick with what Vegas is showing you. Now, once in a blue, there's an anomaly. But other than that, I do think you're going to see the Giants right in that bracket between 8 and 11. I hope it's 11. And again, everything's got to break right. The Eagles are still going to be the Eagles. I know they lost both their coordinators, but I still feel confident in the talent they have there. I think Dallas takes a step back. I think Washington takes a step up a little bit in the division this year. So we'll see where the Giants are. I think they're in that bracket. I think they're a 10, 11 win team. That's where I'm going to stick with. You know what? If you got to give me a number, I'm going to stick with 10.
Chris, we started last season, right? I think you and I were on the same page. We were saying, hey, this is a 7-win team. It's a 7-win team, and we were happy with it, right? Because we had taken a step back to 4 wins, and we were doing quarterback sneaks on the 5-yard line, our own 5-yard line. So it was rough, and here we are, make the playoffs, win a playoff game. And there's always that harder schedule, take a step back type of scenario that happens, Chris. Are you going the conservative route? Like Vegas is fairly conservative, right? 8.5, right? Mm-hmm. Conservative route. I'm looking in the chat here. I see everyone's 10-7, 11-6. I mean, I'm just reading again, there's a bazillion people in here dropping numbers in. If I scroll through it, no one has them at 8.5 wins. Maybe Brian's just a bigger gambler than these folks are. But Chris, where are you at number-wise?
I think the Giants steal one finally against the Eagles. I'm not saying not the Eagles, the Cowboys. I'm not saying they're going to beat the Eagles once even, but I'm going to go with Brian. I think with the 17-game schedule, you're looking at 10 wins for the Giants.
And okay, if I had
to put, the key is you got to sweep Washington, which I think they can or will, and you have to split with Dallas. And I think they'll get 10.
So let's say that happens. What's the Bob's pool service? 17-0. Let me tell you, they go 17-0. I'm buying. I'm. Where's the Super Bowl this year?
Sounds like a great movie.
I'm going to their 17.
I think. Where is it this year? Where was it last year?
The Super Bowl's in Arizona this year.
It's in Arizona, right?
Yeah.
He's right.
Okay.
Yep.
So, Chris, what's the one game you have them at 10? Is there one game on this schedule that they're gonna win? That they're gonna surprise everybody? Like, is there? I know you said before San Fran, but is there one on here that?
Actually, I think Dan said that.
Oh yeah, Dan. But Chris, is there one on here?
Make it the Jets.
I think they're going to steal the opener against Dallas at home.
Let's go
right off the bat.
Danny, you?
I already said San Fran, but I guess I'll be different. I'll say let's beat the Jets. It's going to be a fun week for Brian on the fan.
Wait, so Dan, you think you're going to win 10 games too?
I don't know, man. Brian's stealing my thunder being pessimistic. I'm like, I think 9. I think we get over the hump for Brian's 8.5.
I do like the 9. I do like the 9. 10 is
the Giants. We always have to sweat it out.
Gun to my head, I would take the over.
Yeah. On 8.5? Yeah.
Yes.
I got that.
Yep.
All right. Well, hey, let's real quick talk about what else happened this week. We signed a bunch of guys. What does that tell you overall? What's happening in the front office? They're doing a lot of good things, right? All our draft picks are rolling in. They're signing contracts. Chris, start with you, as I know you love the ins and outs of the roster. That's like your wheelhouse a lot of times. What's your take on just guys signing contracts? Seems pretty easy.
Yeah, well, I think nowadays with the scale for the rookies, it makes it a lot easier. You're not seeing these guys held out till before training camp. So I think everybody knows exactly the range they're going to get paid. And it was nice to see Jalen Hyatt be the next one in line today for 5 years.
5 are already signed. So
5 already signed, right? And we have Hyatt who came in today with $5 million. So for 5. Was it 5 or 4?
Yeah, 5 and change.
5.6. I saw.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then 1 million was the sign bonus.
Yeah. So I think we're on our way, and all eyes will now probably point to
Banks and JMS.
Saquon. Yeah. See what happens with Saquon.
Well, that is a great segue because that's what I want. That's why I brought up the fact like we are signing guys. The front office is doing all their due diligence and getting it done. Brian, talk to me. Like there is so much stuff floating around Barkley, like that Rock Nation is just, I think that his agent is a Rock Nation. She actually, by the way, the actual agent responded to Maj this week, and said he made a statement now how Barkley turned down 12, 12 and a half, 13, 13 and a half, 14. And she actually responded and says it's not accurate. So what are you hearing? Like, is this really about incentives?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's just Saquon playing the game. I think he's trying to tell the Giants that he is upset. And, and I told you guys this before, from a Saquon Barkley standpoint, what is he going to do? What is his other option? It's either he's going to play for the Jets, Jeez. Dare I even say that? Let's go back to the trader segment. He would be a big trader. It's either he's going to play for the Giants or he's going to take a year off at the age of 27 years old in the running back position. I mean, the longevity for age-wise, last year 30, 31 tops. And he's going to take a year off and then go sign for another team for what does he want? 15, 16, 17, 18 million. He's not getting that at his age, and that's not a market for a running back now in football. So really, what leverage does Saquon have? What leverage does his agency have? They really have no leverage. So I think Saquon's just trying to be a pain in the ass, for lack of a better term, right now. Yeah. And if he gains a couple million out of the deal, maybe another million or 1.5 out of it, it's all worth his while anyway, right? It's a business game. So what I said to you about the NFL and the schedule and money, players are no different. I don't blame them. Look at Darrelle Revis, the way he conducted his contracts. I think Saquon's just trying to do the same thing because Saquon is not a stupid guy.
I'm just even wondering if it's Saquon at this point. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know. Of course, none of us know, but I'm sure he wants to get on, get rolling. Let's get this done with already.
He does.
I don't know how far. I mean, we do know that he turned down 13.5. That was a fact, right? So, I mean, and now he's playing for 10, and I get he doesn't want to pay for 10, and maybe they won't go above 13.5. But I don't know. I get kind of like the Jones thing. I guarantee you, and I shouldn't say guarantee. What the hell do I know? In my humble opinion, is if Saquon had a new agent tomorrow, the deal will be done by Friday. I think the agent's trying. I almost feel like the agent's holding this up, because she's responding to people on Twitter. You're supposed to be an NFL agent. What are you responding to people on Twitter for? We're a bunch of knuckleheads.
I have a question. Sorry, Chris, go. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, and what about the running back market? I mean, his representation, don't they know the running back market? And do they remember Le'Veon Bell? What happened to his situation when he held out?
I don't think Saquon's that stupid to do something.
No, and I don't think he is, but hopefully he could talk some sense into Rock Nation.
I have a question. I have a question for all of you. When do we start squirming about Saquon? When does it start getting uncomfortable?
Training camp.
When's the is the tag June 1st or July? What's the tag?
July 15th.
I want to say July 15th.
Yeah, so I'm squirming on July 10th.
Okay. All right.
I think
you could go as far into August and still be okay. And then once you're getting into the last week of preseason, then I'll start squirming.
I tell you why I don't subscribe to that, B, because I've seen every single player that does that gets hurt within the first 4 weeks of the season. Like clockwork.
That's very
July
true.
15th. Yeah. Like clockwork, B. It happens. If I wish I was smart enough as a kid to write the numbers down. Every guy that holds out or comes into camp gets hurt. They have soft tissue injuries and they're out for 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Listen, I'm the first guy to tell you straight up, Barkley is not the running back that we all grew up with. It's not Joe Morris. He's not Rodney Hampton, right? He's not Tiki Barber, but he is what he is, and he's a good dude, and he's a good locker room guy, and the guy is a superstar. And I'd rather him here than not be here. And I just ask myself, it just feels like a lot of tug of war, Chris. I think you probably agree. It feels like a lot of tug of war. I almost feel like the Jones thing a little bit. If he doesn't have this this agent from Rock Nation. Does someone else already have this deal done?
I think the problem is they look at McCaffrey's contract, and Barkley is not the receiver that McCaffrey is, but he looks at himself, and he is a good receiver out of the backfield. He's not a one-dimensional guy, but I think he looks at himself as that McCaffrey out of the backfield receiver, almost like Le'Veon Bell did. I want to get paid like a receiver and a back, because I do both, but he's not McCaffrey. McCaffrey is a better route runner out of the backfield.
Rookie year, he had 800 and change yards receiving, and then they went away from him, but then he got hurt and stuff. But I get it. But I mean, it just feels like I'd love to be a fly on the wall because I don't really know if he wants 16, he's not going to get it.
No,
he's just not.
It's just we actually have a general manager that could read the room. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, like this should just be like. Okay, maybe Shane's got to give a little bit. Like it was 13-5. Give him more than the original deal, and let's go home.
Mm-hmm.
Give him 14, and let's just go home.
Shane said it too. Shane said, "I don't know if he's going to be a Giant." Right about a month ago, that's what he said. I don't know if he's going to be a Giant. I don't know if he's going to play with. I can't answer that question. That's just him playing the game right now.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that he doesn't have leverage, and that's really what it comes down to. It's a leverage game, and Shane knows that he doesn't have it.
Yeah, but I do want him here. I mean, I really do want him here. Without him, this team is not. This team is not the same without him.
It's just got Eric Gray. We got Eric Gray.
Oh, I like Gray. Don't get me wrong. I like Gray.
Yeah.
But
Brightwell and Eric Gray and Rita
be a running back committee.
Danny, every time we see an interview from a defensive player, what do they say? When we play the Giants, we game plan for Saquon Barkley.
Saquon, and he still kills it. So that's all you need to know about Saquon.
And listen, beginning of the year, some people will say, he stopped running guard. At the beginning of the year, first six games of the year, that dude was dropping guys. Behind his pads, running behind his pads, lowering shoulder, and then he kind of laid off a little bit. But, I want him here. This seems ridiculous that they seem to be so far apart. I don't know.
I think the fact that you're not hearing a lot about it either just kind of suppresses any angst that he won't be re-signed with the Giants. I think it seems inevitable, and I just think they're trying to figure it out. I really do. And if Saquon gets an extra $500,000, it's worth it to him. So, right? Yeah, I mean, it would be worth it for me.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, I'm like totally in agreement with you. Like, I don't care. Give him something extra and let's be done with this.
Right. All right.
You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like, I don't know. Again, someone brought up the point in here that Rock Nation doesn't have a whole lot of clients. Maybe it was Jay. Rock Nation doesn't even have many clients. I get it all. But the guys run behind some crappy lines. It's cost them. Listen, crappy lines, knee injury, ankle injury, all this stuff. The guy's done everything they want him to do, and he's a model citizen. I don't know. Figure it out. Give him a little kiss, and let's be done with it. Wait to your question, Brian. When we panic, the day the tag ends, right? The day he's got to sign the tag.
And then you go out and sign Ezekiel Elliott and really stick it to him.
Oh no! Don't do that.
Please, no, please.
I'm joking.
Please.
I'm joking.
I know.
That was a gentleman move.
Craig's gonna wear his 1985 middle linebacker belly shirt.
Damn right. I'll be showing off my 8-pack. Actually, no, none of that's true.
I'll have the Nick Gates look going.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, listen. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. I hope we entertained you guys for the last hour. That's Brian, that's Danny, that's Chris. You guys know me. We are here every Monday. Housekeeping. The store is open. Oh, by the way, I am thanks to the Bronx Muchacho guys. Pound them guys. Want to give those guys a shout out for turning me on to a new store. Guess what, ladies? Yes. Are you ready for this, Nikki? I've got yoga pants. I've got workout tops. I've got it all. I've already had it all. Now I just have more because this new store that the Bronx Muchacho guys hooked me up with is the bomb. So when I roll out the new store, all you ladies can have some really sweet Giants Rush gear that's on its way. NYGIANTSRUSH.com. Make sure you
nights.
What's that, Danny?
Wednesday nights. Don't forget Wednesday nights.
Of course. We all know that we have two shows. Giants Rush Hour. Rush Hour on Wednesday, hosted by Nikki. She is in Dallas because she is out there actively watching to see what Dallas players she can run over while she's on while she's out there on a conference. So Spartan Mike will be filling in, and Danny, and we are doing the NFC West. So we'll have a panel with the Rams and the Seahawks and the Niners and everybody. They're all going to be joining. So if you wanted, either you're a fan or you just want to talk football, they're going to be talking about their draft classes and, and grades. So tune in Wednesday at 8 o'clock. New stores coming. Follow us, of course, Instagram and Facebook and all those. Oh, we don't even do Facebook anymore. We got rid of that. I always forget we don't really do it anymore. It's just basically Twitter and Instagram. But you guys need to go to YouTube and subscribe. Hit the button, folks. Look, it's real easy. Just hit the subscribe button. Do us a favor. Because guess what happened?
Craig, listen to Jay, Craig.
Start putting the time on the thumbnails. I can do that.
Yes.
If you don't know
that's
what
not
time
me, Jay. That's not me.
Wait, so he doesn't know what time the show is by now?
I don't. This is the second or third time he's complained about it, so I'm bringing it to your attention.
All right, I will put the time. How about I'll put the time really big, and then I'll put all the graphics really small, just so you know what time it is. No problem. I can definitely do that for you guys. We'll be here. Make sure you're subscribing. All your podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, all the rest of them. We're there. Favorite podcast platform. We're out. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.